This is a lava lamp. It will be important later.
A heat engine is a machine that converts heat to usable energy. One way of doing this is by heating a working fluid until it phase changes to a gas. Think of a steam engine. Water is converted to steam, the steam turns a turbine, then the steam condenses back to water. Let's look at that lava lamp again. A solid is heated until it turns to a liquid. The liquid flows to the surface and cools, turning back to a solid. Sounds a little familiar, but we need to get usable energy from it to be considered an engine. Now we're not going to be spinning any turbines with hot lava lamp liquid, but what if you pushed a piston? Let's look at wax motors. They heat paraffin wax to push a linear actuator forward, then remove the heat source to cool it and retract the piston. Now what if we combine the concept of a lava lamp's heating and cooling cycle with a wax motor? The first thing you'll need is a pressure vessel made of aluminum or copper, connected to a piston. The pressure vessel will need to be long and narrow with a hot end at the bottom and a cool end at the top. Then you need a working fluid. Paraffin wax is a clear choice because of its high volume of expansion of 10-20% when melted and its relatively low melting point of around 50 degrees Celsius. An intermediary fluid is needed for a working fluid to move up and down in and push on our piston. Water is the best choice because of it won't mix with the wax and it's cheap. Lastly, we will need a small shell to contain our wax inside the pressure vessel and to add weights that our solid paraffin wax would sink, but light enough that when it melts it will float. Aluminum would be a good choice. Now, talking about a theoretical engine doesn't really mean much unless you can back it up with some proof. So I built a prototype. This was my first functional prototype. I installed a clear acrylic tube at the top so that you could see the wax shell rise and fall. I wasn't able to use the best material choices. I used steel for the pressure vessel and plastic for the wax shell. I also added the addition of a magnet at the top of the wax shell to hold the wax shell at the top of the pressure vessel. That way it would be longer for it to cool and give me larger piston strokes. I also made another prototype off of my original so that I could generate rotational work from the engine. Although this prototype doesn't generate enough power to have any practical application, it does demonstrate that the engine does work. You could theoretically scale this engine up using the proper materials so that it can generate enough energy to have practical applications. Although the efficiency would likely be very low, it is a quite cheap and easy engine to make. An example of a scaled up engine that could be practical would be an engine with multiple pressure vessels with wax shells heating and cooling out of sync with each other, all of which are pushing their intermediary fluid through a hydraulic motor, generating power.
I don't know what thermodynamic cycle best describes this engine. It does bear some semblance to a Stirling cycle engine because you have a working substance moving between a hot and cold end, although it could also be described with its own unique thermodynamic cycle, but I don't know enough about thermodynamics to say that for certain in this video. I'm uncertain whether or not this concept has been done before, but just in case it hasn't, I'll take the opportunity to name this engine the Julian engine. I know it's very original. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.